Hey Mixers, welcome back to another WNBA player props video. I swung really hard on the first playoff slate and that was a huge mistake. So we're going to go a little bit lighter on this next playoff slate that's only 2 games. But first, let's jump into the recap. All right, so we did have 2 best bets that did hit, but I checked and nobody picked those 2. I think everyone was scared of Gabby, which fair enough. She hasn't been playing well, but she did have an awesome game today. So Tiffany Hayes obviously did not play. Brianna Jones didn't really need to score for them to win. Natasha Howard just had a bad game. Satu Sabali, insane. Who shoots? She literally shot 10 3-pointers. 10! And she only hit 1. That's insane. That is absolutely insane. Skylar Diggins only had, I think, like 2 assists, like hardly any. Natasha Cloud did have a great game, so she cleared her line easily, and Gabby Williams cleared her line easily. Jordan Canada only had, I think, 2 or 3 assists, so she did not have a good game either. And then the leans here did a little bit better. So Alyssa Thomas hooked, and then Jewel Lloyd did go over her points. Excuse me. The money lines went 2 and 2. The spreads went 1 and 3, and the totals went 2 and 2. And then the players to watch that I gave you that I hadn't, necessarily placed bets on. Nafisa Collier barely did not go over her points. Asia Wilson did hit her points. Nneka Aguimike hit her rebounds, and Erica Wheeler hit her 3-pointers. I did only end up going in on Collier and Wilson, and they were together, so that slip did not cash because Nafisa Collier did not need to play to win. If the Valkyries could have just played a little bit better, maybe Nafisa Collier would have stayed on the court a little bit longer, because I believe she didn't play a single minute in the 4th quarter, if I'm correct. But anyways, let's wipe that away and roll into today's slate, or Taco Tuesday, whatever. So we have the Aces in the Storm again, but this time we're going in Seattle here. So in Seattle, the totals have been 184 and 145, so 1 high scoring total, 1 low scoring total. And then the spreads have been 20 and 5. But I'm just taking the Aces here. I think the Storm are a first-round exit team, but I do think they're going to play hard to stay in this one, and so that is why I am leaning towards the over 161.5, but I will take the Aces on the money line and the Aces minus 5.5 for the win and kick the Storm out of the playoffs. Next, we have the Fever at the Dream. Totals in Indianapolis have been high, 181 and 181, and the spreads have been 1 and 17. So I am going to take the over 154.5, and then I will take the Fever on the money line and the Fever on the spread as well. I do think this game gets pushed to 3, like this series gets pushed to 3 games. But I would not be surprised one bit if the Dream just beat the pants off the Fever and the Fever were out of the playoffs. I mean, these top tier teams, like the 3rd and 4th seed, are playing like some of the lower ranked seeds, and so it just makes sense for them to win. But I don't know why they keep giving me plus money on the Fever, and I just feel like they can win one of these games. But we'll see if that is the case or not. If the Fever win their game, it will be because Aaliyah Boston has a good game. So Aaliyah Boston has a good scoring matchup underneath the hoop, which Natasha Howard also has. But Natasha Howard plays better away, and Aaliyah Boston plays better at home. That logic did not work out for us last time in Atlanta, but I'm hoping it works out for us this time at home in Indianapolis. So she's over 50% of the time without Caitlin Clark. She did have 19 and 24 in both of her head-to-heads at home, but those were with Caitlin Clark. So she did go over this line at home twice against the Dream, but Caitlin Clark was on the court. She had 4, 7, and 8 in her 3 away games, so horrible. So this is kind of a boom-bust line. It either hits or it really, really doesn't. But I think that Aaliyah Boston can hit this line. Next, we have Alyssa Smith over 7.5 points. It's 8.5 in most places, but on Boom Fantasy, you can lower it to 7.5 for still a normal payout, 1.69, so pretty normal. She's over 67% of the time in away games since she's been on the Aces, and she did have 10 and 11 in 2 head-to-heads with the Storm since being on the Aces, but those were home games in Las Vegas. So she has not played against the Storm in Seattle since she's been on the Aces. She did play them twice, I believe, with the Wings, and she did go over this line once and didn't go over this line once, but her role was just not the same, so it's just really hard to compare that. I also didn't mind a look at her points rebounds as well. And then Ryan Howard over 2.5 3-pointers. it's very rare that we get this for a normal payout, so I'm taking it. She's over 87% against all teams in away games, so she shoots more three-pointers and makes them in away games than Alicia Gray does. And she's over 80% of the time against the Fever, home and away, only missing in the one game where she had no threes, but she did shoot 5 of them, so she just didn't make any of them. And then she's over 100% of the time in away games against the Fever. So she's played the Fever twice in away games, and she's been over both times with 4 both times. All right, Gabby Williams alt line, because they have bumped her line up to 10.5, and she did just cash for us, so I'm scared to go straight back to her. But I will take her alt line over 7.5. She's over 82% of the time at home, but that drops to 67% with Brittany Sykes on the court at home. But she is over 100% of the time against the Aces at home or in Las Vegas with or without Brittany Sykes. So they've played 5 times now. Let's see if that's right. Yeah, 5 times. And Gabby's been over this line all 5 times in the home games and the away games. And Brittany Sykes was on the court for, I believe, 3 of those games. So, yeah, some competing stats here. But I'm going to go back to Gabby just on a lowered line. And then we were getting a line for Ezi Magbegor over 5.5 rebounds. You guys are going to think I'm crazy, but I saw this for plus money early in the morning, and I didn't take it, and I should have, but I didn't. And now there's no lines for Ezi Magbegor on any of the apps. I've looked on all the apps I have, and there is no lines for her. So I don't know what's going on there. I didn't see a questionable tag, so this is possibly like one of those spots where, I don't know if you guys remember, but a few slates ago, we just knew that Jordan Canada was going to have a crazy assist game, and they weren't giving us a line for her, and they never gave us a line, and she went out and had 10 assists. So Ezi Magbegor at home has a great rebounding matchup here. She had 7 and 9 in 2 home head-to-heads with the Aces already, and she's over 73% of the time at home against all teams against this 5.5 line. I would even take it at 6.5, especially if they're going to give me some plus money for that. But right now, they're just not even allowing us to bet on her, which I think is dumb. All right, here is the best bet summary. It is a little bit messy, but you can take a screenshot of this. I'm not going to read through it all. I did go out of town today for some NFL bets, and so I was able to place a bet on the Fever money line. I got it at 150, so plus 150. So that is going to count as an official best bet for like it's going to count for everything, like towards the trend, towards everything. So you can choose that if you want. Just choose 2 of these 4 best bets to hit, and you'll be in for that cash prize giveaway. And hopefully we have a little bit better day today than we did on that first playoff game slate. Thanks, guys.